there's 4 different types of vaccines that are usually given to individuals. We go over them real quick. The first one is probably the strongest one. It's the Live-attenuated vaccine, which takes a weakened form or an inactive form of the germ. So it can be a virus or bacteria or whatever, and then it gets injected basically into you. This does have limitations because if I have an organ transplant, if I have a kidney from somebody else or a heart, my immune system is always weakened because we're always giving like steroids to individuals because you don't want them to develop an immune response to the organ that they received. So it's kind of risky and not recommended for you to get a live attenuated virus just because it's easier for it to spread.
If you got a transplant.
Yes, if you're an organ transplant recipient. But these live attenuated vaccines, they're usually your MMR, your rotavirus, your smallpox, your chickenpox, and your yellow fever. Another virus that we tend to give to people is inactivated virus, which takes basically the dead germ and then injects it. And it's safe for more people. But the thing is, it doesn't provide as long of an immunity as like the live vaccine, just because the germ itself is dead.
So that's why the flu vaccine has to be given yearly.
Exactly. That's why the flu vaccine, say with hepatitis A and polio and rabies, you get polio a couple of times before you finally get rid of it. And then the third one, which is pretty interesting, it's called Subunit, Recombinant, Polysaccharide, and Conjugate Vaccines. So these vaccines they're actually really strong. They take like either a protein or a sugar or just a capsule of the actual bacteria and virus, and they inject it into you. So you're not getting a whole virus, you're getting a piece of it, which is actually really good on a molecular level because it's you could pinpoint it with more accuracy. Less mistakes happen. But this does lead to a strong immune response, but a lot of times you have to give like boosters for that as well. And that's like your hepatitis B, your HPV, your whooping cough, which is part of your DTaP vaccine, and your shingles, pneumococcal, and meningitis. Those are the ones that are just usually get like a subunit of the actual bacteria or virus itself.
That's interesting. And we always screen patients for pneumococcal vaccine.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm just like refused.
Yeah, and what's cool about this is that you're not actually giving the virus or the germ itself. You're giving a portion of it, so anybody could receive it because you're not creating any kind of a reaction for the most part, toxic reaction. And a third one, it's a Toxoid Vaccine, which basically...
Fourth one.
Fourth one, I'm sorry. What did I say, third?
Third is cool.
Okay, fourth one, Toxoid Vaccine. So you're not actually introducing the bacteria or virus or the germ to the host. You're just giving the byproduct of it, like a toxin of what the virus produces or what the bacteria produces. So your body kind of learns that this toxin is toxic, and it kind of finds a way how to fight this toxin off. That's another way. And that's your diphtheria and your tetanus, all part of the DTaP.
And I remember when I was in nursing school getting vaccines, some patients or some people aren't able to develop like a booster immunity, and they have to be given the shot more often. Didn't you have that issue when before travel nursing you had to get some kind of booster?
Yeah, I think it was my MMR booster that I needed or something. Yeah, so it depends on what kind of vaccine you get, because there are different forms of each vaccine. For the most part, just like it's probably based on your clinic's preference. But it's we get the flu shot every year for the most part, and the flu shot is actually not just one variation of influenza. It's like a bunch of variation of influenza that they give you because we're not sure what kind of influenza is going to be occurring this winter or whenever. For the most part. Yeah.
What about the anti-vaxxers belief? So there's 4 misconceptions that the anti-vaxxers believe that you shouldn't get vaccinated, and this is probably the biggest reason why this all started spreading, where there was outbreaks of specific viruses and diseases in America.
Yeah, so initially these anti-vaxxers believe that the MMR vaccine itself leads to autism and the development of autism. That's proven false, basically because the reason autism is on the rise isn't really because of the vaccine. It's because the autism spectrum has grown. So different developmental disorders we now throw into the spectrum of autism. So there's more disorders that are just called autism now than they were before. And if you think about it, less people are getting vaccinated now. There has been attributed to any kind of decrease in autism at all.
Yeah, and we actually 2 podcasts back we talked about the link between autism and all these like skincare products that like females use and the high levels of estrogen in the womb, right? That's correlated to that. So it might be an external source that's causing autism in kids and this developmental disease, not the vaccines themselves.
Yeah. This effect argument, just the argument itself saying that MMR causes autism is completely false, because we have seen a decline in MMR vaccine, the vaccine in general, but there hasn't been any kind of decline in autism. So it doesn't even make sense in the first place.
It's probably the chemtrails.
Probably, man.
You know, like there's like those planes spraying those streaks of fumes or whatever up in the air. You don't even know what they're releasing.
Well, who knows? Who knows? Maybe. Another thing, what they were pushing is they said this preservative called thimerosal is how you say it. They were saying that was actually linked to autism, and that's been proven false, and that hasn't really been used in vaccines since 1999, and it hasn't been shown to attribute to anything autism related. Yeah, some shit.
Another one, sometimes they believe that infants are too young to get a vaccine, but I think they did research that you could get literally all 14 vaccines given to you at once, and it's not going to affect the baby. Like literally, your body's able to handle that capacity. Like there's a 0.1% chance of something going wrong.
Right. And like think about it, it's an infant, it's a baby. Like that baby's walking around, it's crawling around, it's getting exposed to multiple viruses, bacteria, toxins all at the same time. I mean, how often if you have a baby or if you dealt with children at all, you turn around 1 minute and you turn back around, they have something in their mouth. Anything, they'll just put whatever they want in their mouth, and they play with everything. And basically, a baby is just like a breeding ground for bacteria, and they fight it off easily.
And there's that whole debate that like let the kid play in dirt, let them get dirty, because your infant's immune system or the baby, like it's developing because it's being exposed to everything. Like if you have that crazy mother that's bleaching every single counter that the baby touches, like you're not giving your baby any kind of bacteria for them to be exposed in, because that's how their immune system like is working. Imagine it like a muscle, use it or lose it, right? If you're working out, you're pumping the muscle, it's going to grow. Same thing with the immune system. If you're not exposing it to any common threats, it's probably going to weaken.
Yeah, it's not learning anything. It's not learning how to fight off infections. If you keep your little baby in a box or in a bubble its whole life, and then it goes to first, second grade, it's going to get sick every day.
Yeah.
Because it has no built-up immunity. It hasn't learned how to fight off anything. And, and child that grows older and is more susceptible to infections and disease, and that just causes a whole issue of problems.